Imagine stepping off a plane in a country you've only dreamed of, ready to just dive into a completely new culture, learn a new language, and really become a global citizen. It's an adventure that promises to reshape your world.
It really does. And today we're taking a deep dive into how that promise becomes real for, thousands of high school students every year through the Rotary Youth Exchange Program.
Yeah, it's this unique chance to live and study somewhere totally different.
And it's quite unlike many other programs out there.
So to really get to the heart of this, we've dug into some great sources. We have a really comprehensive primer for exchange students. There's an overview called Rotary Youth Exchange Builds Peace, One Young Person at a Time, and also the super detailed Rotary Youth Exchange Program District 5170 Handbook.
Oh, right. And our mission here is to unpack what it really means to be part of this. Looking at the huge benefits, the pretty expensive prep work involved.
Navigating the challenges, too, because there will be some.
Oh, definitely. Understanding the support system, which is actually quite robust, and crucially, the rules that keep everyone safe and really help foster that genuine cultural understanding.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We hear life-changing thrown around a lot, but what does that actually look like for a student on this Rotary Exchange? What are the truly transformative parts?
Well, the sources describe the rewards as just immense. Some even say priceless. Students aren't just tourists, they become actual ambassadors for their own country, their community.
Right, fully immersed.
Fully immersed in a new culture. And this leads to making lifelong friends, not just locally, but with other exchange students from all over the world. They get this firsthand look at how other nations work, their accomplishments.
Yeah.
It's invaluable stuff.
So it's more than just learning about a place, it's a deep internal shift as well. Developing a bigger worldview, yes, but also, maybe surprisingly, understanding themselves better.
Exactly. Understanding their own culture, too, by seeing it from the outside. We see them come back, step into leadership roles, totally shaped by this perspective, carrying these, memories that genuinely stick forever.
And there's personal growth, too, right? Maturity.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. We're talking serious maturation.
Yeah.
Gaining independence, confidence. Think about managing money, making daily choices in a foreign place, often becoming fluent in another language.
Wow.
And it's amazing how their public speaking improves just from sharing their experiences. Plus, they become way more tolerant, more adaptable to different people, different cultures, different ways of doing things. It's lived growth, not just theory.
Now, what really seems interesting here is Rotary's specific role. There are lots of exchange programs. What is Rotary, and why does their program seem to stand out so much?
Good question. So Rotary itself is this huge global network, over 33,000 service clubs, made up of business leaders, professionals, community leaders. But the defining thing for the Youth Exchange is that it's all volunteer-driven. It's run by unpaid Rotarians, their families, all over the world.
Entirely volunteer.
Entirely. And that deep personal investment, that's why people consistently say it's one of the least expensive, safest, and highest quality programs you can find. It's not just a service. It's like being welcomed into a global family.
That volunteer aspect sounds fundamentally different from, say, a commercial program. That local supervision from Rotarians, who are often, respected figures in town, that must offer a unique kind of support.
It really does. Think about it. These aren't just paid staff. They're local people, deeply invested in their community, offering almost a kind of, parental guidance.
I see.
And that can sometimes open doors later on, academically, professionally, through connections you wouldn't expect. It's a level of support that's hard to replicate elsewhere.
So who's the ideal student for this? Who are they looking for, and what kinds of exchanges are actually offered?
The ideal candidates are, young, open-minded people, generally aged 15 to 19, though most are 16 to 18 during the exchange itself. They need leadership potential, and they have to be ready to be good cultural ambassadors.
Okay. Do you need a Rotary connection already?
No, that's a key point. You don't need prior involvement. Kids of Rotarians can apply, sure, but there's no special preference. And importantly, they really encourage students with disabilities to apply, too.
And the age range can vary slightly.
Yeah, like the District 5170 handbook we looked at specifies students need to be 15, but not older than 18 and a half when the school year starts over there. So you check with the specific district.
Got it. And are there different lengths of exchanges, like not just a full year?
Yes, 3 main types. The most common is the long-term one. That's the full academic year, usually 10 to 12 months. Students live with multiple host families, often 3, which is great for immersion, and they have to attend school.
Okay, the classic exchange year.
Right. Then there's short-term, That could be just a few days up to several weeks, often during school breaks. Think family-to-family swaps, maybe international youth camps or tours.
Yeah, the third.
That's called New Generations. It's also short-term, maybe 3 weeks to 3 months, but for slightly older participants, 18 to 25. And sometimes it has a vocational focus, like an internship component.
But not every district offers all three.
Exactly. Each Rotary district chooses which programs they run, and the age limits might shift a bit depending on the district and the program type.
Okay, let's switch gears to the practical side. Money. You said it's often least expensive. What does that actually mean? What's covered and what your families need to budget for?
Right. For the long-term exchanges, the host Rotary Club, the one in the country you go to, generally pays for the school tuition fees, and they give the student a modest monthly allowance for personal spending.
An allowance. Like how much, roughly?
It varies, but the examples we saw were around, say, 100, maybe 150 US dollars a month or the equivalent buying power, just some pocket money. But the big thing is room and board are provided by the host families. That's a huge cost saving.
Okay, so host families cover living expenses. What's left for the student and their family back home to pay for?
Usually, they're responsible for the round-trip flight, clothes and personal items, health and travel insurance, which has to meet certain standards, plus extra spending money beyond the allowance, and any optional side trips or tours.
Can you give a specific example?
Sure. District 6330, when we reviewed, had a program fee around $8,500 Canadian. Now that included the flights, health insurance, even the official Rotary blazer, and that monthly stipend.
Okay, that's quite inclusive.
It is, but it didn't include things like doctor or dentist fees if insurance didn't cover them, passport and visa costs, travel to orientations or the airport before leaving, any late fees, maybe language camp fees, and just general personal spending money, like for a cell phone plan.
And scholarships, are those ever an option?
Sometimes, yes. That same district, 6330, for instance, mentioned they offered 2 scholarships, so it's definitely worth asking about.
That really helps paint the financial picture. Okay, now, preparation. This isn't just packing a bag, is it? What's the application process like?
No, definitely not just packing. It's a pretty selective process, actually. They really encourage students to apply early, sometimes more than a year before they'd leave.
A year?
Yeah. It usually starts with contacting local Rotarians, then maybe a preliminary application, an interview with the local club. If they sponsor you, then comes the big one. A really in-depth application. It takes serious time and effort.
And interviews, too.
Yes, the final stage is often a district interview conference. Both the student and their parents go, and they're interviewed pretty thoroughly.
Sounds intense. And do you get to pick your dream country? Like, I want to go to France.
Not exactly. You usually find out your country assignment fairly early, maybe January for a summer departure. You get to rank preferences, sure, but there's no guarantee. They're looking for kids excited about the experience itself, being open to wherever the journey takes them, rather than fixated on one spot.
Okay, so adaptability is key from the start. Once you're accepted, what's on that immediate pre-departure checklist?
Right. Some critical things need doing ASAP. First, passport application. That can take weeks, so get on it immediately. Then the student visa and any guarantee forms Rotarians help guide you through that paperwork.
What else?
You need to coordinate with your sending district about booking the flights, get the right travel health insurance it has to meet the host district's requirements, and you must carry a copy with you always. Get all your immunizations documented, and have a full medical and dental checkup before you go. These aren't just suggestions, they're essentials.
It sounds like you're really being prepared not just as a student, but as a representative. You mentioned cultural ambassadors.
Yeah.
How does prepping to talk about your own country help you get ready for the host country?
That's a really great point. When you prepare to explain your own customs, your history, your government, you actually have to think about them maybe for the first time in a structured way.
Makes sense.
It deepens your self-awareness, and it sharpens your ability to talk about cultural ideas, which is exactly the skill you need to understand and explain the nuances you encounter in your new home. It kind of builds that foundation for cross-cultural communication.
And part of being an ambassador involves wearing the famous blazer, right?
Ah, yes, the blazer. It's pretty iconic. You get it from your sending district. And over the year, it gets covered in pins and patches swapped with other students, collected from Rotary clubs. You wear it to Rotary events, and it instantly marks you as part of this global exchange family.
Cool. Okay, beyond the blazer, what about the nitty-gritty of packing and money? What absolutely has to go in the suitcase?
Documents are number one. passport plus photocopies, visa plus copies, health insurance card or info, plane tickets, emergency contacts, immunization records, copies of any prescriptions, meds, glasses, contacts.
Keep copies separate, I assume.
Definitely. Also, have contact info for your Rotary counselor and your first host family readily available. Health-wise, an extra pair of glasses if you wear them, contact lens solution, and enough basic toiletries for maybe the first month. Some things might be tricky to find right away.
And money matters. How do you handle cash, cards, banks for a whole year?
You should arrive with a small amount of cash in the host country's currency, just for immediate needs like getting from the airport. But generally, wait till you get there to exchange larger amounts. You usually get better rates.
Cards, credit, debit.
Talk to your host district and your parents about that. Card use isn't universal, especially debit cards, and ATM fees can bite. Depending on the country, traveler's checks might still be a useful backup, though they're less common now.
What about electronics? Phones, laptops?
Big one. You'll likely need plug adapters and maybe a voltage converter for things like hair dryers, laptops, phone chargers. Check the voltage difference. Or, honestly, sometimes it's easier and cheaper just to buy inexpensive local electronics when you arrive.
Okay, lots of practical prep. What about understanding the culture before you even get on the plane?
Yeah.
More than just hello.
Oh, much more. Basic greetings are essential, yes, but also general dress codes, what's considered appropriate or inappropriate, what's daily life like, meal customs, any major cultural taboos to avoid.
Good point.
Know the main national holidays, how they celebrate, understand the predominant religions and how accepting they are of other beliefs, what do people do for fun, common sports, and just a basic grasp of the government structure and who the main leaders are. This isn't about being an expert, it's about showing respect and navigating those first few weeks more smoothly.
Okay, so now you've landed, you're in the host country. Let's talk about living with host families. These are strangers initially. How does that work? What's expected?
The absolute core expectation is be open-minded, be flexible. You have to adapt to their way of life, their customs. It is absolutely the student's job to fit in with the family, not the other way around.
That's a crucial distinction.
It is. Students need to be ready to talk openly about household rules, often using what they call first-night questions. Things like, should I do my own laundry? Is it okay to help myself to food in the fridge?
Practical stuff.
Very practical. Expect to pitch in with chores just like any family member. And you might share a room with a host sibling. The goal is to become part of the family, not just a guest staying there.
It was interesting reading the advice for host parents, basically. Don't treat the student like an honored guest. Treat them like one of your own kids. And students are told not to compare host families openly.
Exactly. It all points towards creating that genuine, integrated family feel. It takes effort and sensitivity from everyone involved, but that's what builds those really strong bonds.
What about school? You said it's mandatory for long-termers. How does that usually work?
Yep. School attendance is required. The host Rotary Club usually sorts out the tuition with the local school. The student's job is to register, go regularly, and take it seriously.
Is it academically tough, juggling school and culture shock?
It can be. That's why it's often suggested they take a slightly lighter course load. The demands of adapting, maybe learning in a new language, it's a lot. And a really important note, check with your home high school counselor before you leave about credits. There's no guarantee that the classes you take abroad will transfer back.
Good tip. Beyond school, what about Rotary itself? What are the obligations there?
You're part of the Rotary family now, so students are expected to attend Rotary events, club meetings, district conferences, orientations. They often get asked to give short presentations about their home country or their experiences.
Do these take priority?
Generally, yes. These Rotary duties are considered important and should usually come before other extracurriculars. It's part of the give and take of the program.
This brings up a big question. If you're a teenager, far from home, maybe struggling a bit, who do you turn to? What's the safety net like?
That's probably one of the program's biggest strengths. Rotary has this extensive, multi-layered support system. Every student gets a trained Rotarian counselor.
Okay, a specific person.
Yes, someone who checks in regularly, acts as a go-between, helps solve problems. Plus, they get contacts for 2 non-Rotarian adults, one male, one female, as completely separate confidential resources.
And the host family too, presumably.
Of course, the host family is often the first line of support. But if things can't be sorted out locally, students know they can reach out to Rotarians back in their home district too. The whole system is designed so problems don't fall through the cracks.
With all that support in the host country, what about contact with home? Should students be Skyping their parents every night?
Actually, no. The advice is generally to limit frequent calls or emails back home.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, partly cost, partly politeness to the host family, maybe, but mostly. It can hinder integration. Constant contact with home makes it harder to fully immerse yourself, to get past homesickness, and embrace the new culture.
So what's a good balance?
Online journals or blogs are often suggested as a good way to keep people updated without constant back and forth. But of course, students should definitely tell parents about any major worries or big plans like trips and share the exciting stuff too.
Speaking of trips, is this a travel program? Can students just backpack around Europe on weekends?
Definitely not. The program is very clear. This is a cultural exchange, not a travel exchange. Students shouldn't go expecting tons of independent travel.
So how does travel happen?
It might happen with host families or with other Rotary members. Sometimes Rotary organizes group tours, but those are usually at the student's own expense. The key rule is no traveling alone, and students can't just make their own arrangements without explicit permission from the host district.
And if they do travel?
Any approved travel must be with a Rotarian or an adult member of their host family. And this is critical. If you travel outside the host country, you might need special visa paperwork, like the DS 2019 form for the U.S. You need prior approval for that. Messing that up can mean you aren't allowed back into the host country, and it costs a lot. It's a very serious rule.
Okay, very clear. Let's shift now to the emotional side of things. Culture shock. It sounds kind of scary, but is it inevitable?
It's very, very natural, common even. It can be uncomfortable, sure, disorienting, but it's important to know you can go through it and still have an amazing, positive overall experience. It generally happens in stages.
Stages, what are they?
Usually seen as 4 stages. First, there's the excitement and enthusiasm. Everything is new, novel, exhilarating. The honeymoon phase.
Okay, sounds good so far.
Then often comes irritability. The initial thrill wears off, and the real differences, the little frustrations of daily life in a new culture start to pile up. You might feel negative, critical.
Oh.
But then, hopefully, you move into adaptation. You start to accept that things are different, and you actively work on figuring out how to navigate those differences, how to fit in better.
And the final stage.
That's often called biculturalism. You reach a point where you feel competent, comfortable in the new culture, you can see things from their perspective, and you've gained this whole new lens on the world. It's a real transformation.
Alongside culture shock, there's homesickness. How common is that, and how do students cope?
Super common, especially early on. Feeling lonely, isolated, just overwhelmed by everything being different.
What helps?
The best advice seems to be stay busy, get involved in activities. And talk to someone local, your host family, your counselor, maybe another exchange student who gets it. Someone who speaks your language or understands the experience can be a huge comfort.
Does it get better?
Almost always, yes. It's usually worst at the start. As you adjust, as your language skills improve, the homesickness tends to fade, and the counselors are trained to help students work through it.
Then after this intense year, you go home and face reverse culture shock. What on earth is that?
It sounds weird, right? But it's often the most unexpected challenge. It's the difficulty readjusting to your own home country.
Why? Shouldn't home feel normal?
You would think. But the issue is you've changed dramatically, and you might expect home to be exactly as you left it, but it feels different now. Or maybe your friends and family haven't changed in the same way you have.
What kind of feelings come up?
Things like feeling your parents don't really get the new you. Maybe feeling closer to your host family for a while, finding it hard to slip back into old routines, missing your friends abroad intensely, maybe even wanting to go back. Old friends might seem, well, less interesting, or their concerns might feel trivial after your global experience.
Wow, that sounds tough. How do you manage that reintegration?
Talking helps. Sharing your experiences, even if people don't fully grasp it. Connecting with other returned exchange students is huge because they do get it. Staying in touch with friends from your exchange year. Basically, finding ways to bridge the 2 worlds you now inhabit. Past exchange students are often a fantastic resource.
Okay, let's talk rules, the real hard lines. What are the absolute non-negotiables for Rotary Youth Exchange students?
There are some very strict rules, mainly for safety and program integrity. The big one, no driving. Absolutely forbidden to drive or operate any motorized vehicle, car, motorcycle, tractor, boat, snowmobile, plane, anything.
And the consequence?
Immediate termination. You're sent home, end of story. You also can't get a driver's license or take driving lessons while on exchange.
Crystal clear. What else?
No serious romantic relationships. Casual dating, especially in groups, might be okay depending on local norms, but serious, exclusive relationships are strongly discouraged and can also lead to being sent home.
Okay, and substances.
Absolutely no illegal drugs. Using or possessing illegal or non-prescription drugs means immediate termination, plus potentially serious legal trouble like jail or deportation in the host country. If you take prescription meds, you must verify they're legal there beforehand.
What about alcohol? Legal ages vary so much globally.
That's the tricky one. The rule depends on the host country's legal drinking age. If a student is of legal age and they have explicit permission from their host family, club, and district, then moderate consumption might be permissible, but definitely not in public.
But if you're underage,
If you are under the legal drinking age in the host country, like, say, 21 in California, then drinking is completely forbidden, no exceptions. And sadly, breaking this rule is a pretty common reason students get sent home early. They take these rules very, very seriously.
it sounds like it. Beyond these conduct rules, what about overall safety? How does Rotary, as a volunteer group, manage the safety of thousands of kids globally?
They have a really comprehensive system. We mentioned the Rotarian counselor who checks in regularly and is trained to handle issues. Districts also provide mandatory abuse and harassment prevention training for everyone involved, students, volunteers, host families.
Background checks, too.
Yes, thorough background checks and screening for all volunteers and host families, including every adult over 18 living in the host home following local laws. Plus, remember those 2 non-Rotarian contacts each student has? That's another safety layer.
Is there emergency support?
Absolutely. Districts have to ensure students can reach someone 24/7, and there are clear procedures for reporting any problems. Rotary International policy is strict. Any report of sexual abuse or harassment must be reported immediately to law enforcement first, then Rotary leadership, then guardians. Their statement of conduct for working with youth really emphasizes this commitment to safeguarding.
That's incredibly thorough. What about the parents back home? What's their role in safety and support? It seems like they need to trust the system a lot.
Parents are vital. They need to be involved in the prep, read everything, make copies of documents, passport, visa, prescriptions. But here's that counterintuitive part again. They're strongly advised to limit frequent communication.
Right, to help the student integrate and get over homesickness faster.
Exactly. It allows the student to build independence and rely on the local support network. Parents should stay in touch with their sending Rotary Club and really understand the support system that is in place for their child abroad.
And visiting. Should parents plan a trip?
It's generally not recommended, especially early in the year. It can be really disruptive emotionally for the student, make homesickness worse, or feel like an intrusion to the host-family relationship. If a visit is approved, it should definitely be in the second half of the exchange year once the student is well settled.
We have covered so much ground. It's incredibly clear that the Rotary Youth Exchange isn't just a trip, it's this profoundly transformative experience, built on this amazing volunteer model that really prioritizes safety, deep cultural immersion.
And just incredible personal growth from all that intense preparation, the day-to-day realities of living abroad, navigating the emotional roller coaster of culture shock and then reverse culture shock, and following those strict rules that maintain the program's integrity. So much more than a year away.
It really is a meticulously designed journey into becoming a global citizen.
Absolutely.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, our listener? Maybe consider this. How embracing that challenge, becoming a cultural ambassador, learning to adapt on the fly, navigating a whole new world, but doing it with this incredible global support network.
How that doesn't just change a young person's life in ways they probably can't even imagine beforehand.
Right, but how it also contributes, one connection, one friendship, one shared experience at a time to building a more peaceful, more understanding world long after that year abroad is over.
It's like planting these seeds of empathy, really. Seeds that can keep growing for a lifetime.